Yo, what up, YouTube fans? It's your boy C-Spec Kurt, man. I'm out here today with my BMW, my 2017 BMW G11 chassis, N63R, all that good stuff, man. But what we're doing today is we're going to be replacing the air shock. Okay, so I ordered a pair of air shocks. I replaced the yesterday actually. It started off with me going into comfort mode. I went into eco mode, and that brought the ride height up higher than I normally ride, which I haven't rode in eco mode in a long time. So I guess it caused it to crack the bag by going to that extent. And so I started getting leakage. When it sit for a while, I come out, my car is lower on its own, like sitting low, then the air up, and it was good. And then I replaced my brakes. When I jacked it up, I heard it shh, bag didn't work no more. Rear end didn't air up no more. So, I went ahead and ordered these bags. So let's get to it. All right, gang. So first thing first is you want to remove your seat out of your car. The way you remove the rear seat, starting with the lower, you just yank it up from the bottom. It's just in these. It's somehow fastened on this thing here. It just pops right out. You pop it out, push the seatbelt buckles out, and then you move it out the way. As you can see, it's right over there. I got it sitting up. The next thing you want to do is you want to remove the rear seat. Okay, now the rear seat is going to require the removal of these two bolts here and two at the bottom. All right, so let's go. Let me show you where they go. So one of those bolts go on this side and the other one goes on the other side, and you have two bolts right here. One goes there, one goes there. 4 bolts, lower, middle. Take those 4 out, and the back of the seat is held in by clamps. You got one here. No, actually, yeah, you got, let's see, one here. You got one there. That's gonna be the one that's toughest to get out. And of course, the other one on the other side. You're just gonna lift up, pull up, and yank that baby out. You're gonna have some harnesses to disconnect. You disconnect your heated seat harness. You got one here. You got one in the middle there for something, and you got another harness on the other side there. And yeah, got 3 harnesses there you got to disconnect. I think there's one more. Yeah, there was a harness on this lower seat here. Make sure you get to disconnect the harness on the lower seat. There's two harnesses on this bottom seat, and on the back seat there's 3. There might be a 4th one, but let's make sure. All right, so let's get back over there. All right, gang, so after removing your rear seat, you need to remove this piece right here, okay? So as you can see here, it has to be pulled forward. You can't just yank it up, because these little hooks right here go into the side like such. So you're gonna have to pull it forward. When you pull it forward, this right here, it's going to be in this hole, these holes here, so it's going to pop out. All right, so kind of give this a pull forward motion. Maybe have to grab it from the side here, kind of yank it over a little bit to get it clear of this, and you should be able to slide it forward. It should slide forward very easily. And you can pull up on this also so that these clips can slide out here, but that's how it's going to go. Next thing you want to do as far as replacing your rear shocks is you want to remove this right here. This is going to be bolted up here with these 2 fasteners right here, 2 10mm fasteners. All right, you can see it's going to be one here, one here. You loosen those 2, and at that point you'll be able to bring this complete assembly forward and just let it lay down like it is right here. Okay, let it lay down. Disconnect your speaker. It's got a harness for your speaker. Disconnect that, and you'll be able to sit it right down there out of the way. So the main reason for doing so is you want to be able to access the top of your shock bolts. Okay, and they're right here on each corner. You will see how there's a indentation. It's kind of square shape right next to the seatbelt buckle. Get a razor. Unlike whoever replaced this shock in the past and didn't replace that side, so I just replaced this one, and I'm going to replace this one so it'll be done as a pair. Cut it out so you don't have multiple pieces. Okay, that's laziness. Cut it with a razor, get a nice clean cut, square it off so that you can place it back in like I did over there. Oh hey, don't that look so much better? So be sure to do that. All right, so this is what it looks like up top. You got your 3 bolts up here. As you can see, this one here was left loose by whoever replaced it in the past. That's why I like doing my own work. I can see what's going on. I got one there. Got another one over here. All right. So you get those 3 loose, you're gonna be good to go. So I'm gonna jack my vehicle up, and we'll loosen those up shortly. So before jacking up our vehicle, we're gonna disconnect the battery. All right, our battery is right here in the trunk. If you know the fuse location, you can just disconnect the fuse for the airbag assembly, but I ain't about to be looking for all that. I'm just gonna disconnect this battery real quick so I can make sure the compressor's not kicking on or anything like that. All right, so first thing first. All right, so we got our wheel off, we got our battery disconnected. What we want to do now is we want to remove this inner tire wall. Okay, it's going to require 8mm and a 10mm for the nuts. All right, so let's get to it. All right, gang, so as you can see, we got all of the bolts out. Next thing I want to do is go ahead and start pulling this baby out. Let's start off by removing these off the back right here, get this stuff up for it. Guys, this thing is so formed, it's gonna feel like something's holding it on still, but just gotta work it off. Move it around a little bit, loosen it up around these studs. It'll eventually come out of there. That's all this dust coming out. It's ready to go right in your nose, so be careful. That's how that comes out. So now that we got that out, next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and this is going to allow us to access our airbag line here. And so what you want to do, disconnect your wire connections. Little tab right there, press it in. And then you just wobble it out of there. All right, just like so. Same thing with this one here on the bottom. Pull up on it. Like so. And remove it from right here. This is just sensors here. This has to do with controlling your ride height. All right, so this here is the only connection aside from the airline connection. All right, so with the airline connection, it's going to require 10mm, and you're going to loosen this here. That should let off any residual air pressure that's in the cylinder, in the air shock. And then after doing so, we will continue by removing this large bolt here, which is a 21mm. I'm going to take that out. Then we're going to go inside. Well, actually, we're going to go inside. We're going to loosen up all 3 of those bolts on the top. Then we're going to come back out here, take off this 21, and the shock will be able to drop right out from that point. All right. All right, gang, we're removing the shock bolts, upper shock bolts, 13mm. One. That's 2. The other one is already loose. I'm the lazy mechanic. And that's 3. Alright, so what you want to do is you got a breaker bar here with a 21mm socket on there. Let me get that baby in place. And as you can see here, what we can do is we can use leverage. Let's see. First of all, make sure you got room for it to move. Right there. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to use leverage to get between here and this sway bar. Put my pry bar between here. I'm going to break this baby loose, okay? So stay tuned. Alright guys, so this is where we at. Got my pry bar in place. I'm gonna pry up against this and Hopefully get this thing loose in no time. There we go. That's the Lord, we got it loose. Alright, so I have a ratcheting wrench. I'm gonna put it on here and power it off to it. Alright, we cruising now. Alright guys, we got our shock bolt out. Let's get it out of here. Let's move our wire harnesses out of the way. We don't want anything to get damaged. Alright, disconnect the airline. Alright, we should have did that before unbolting the shock, but you can do it now because the shock is not out of place. So go ahead and disconnect your airline. 10 millimeter, as I stated earlier. Okay, you can see that connection right here. 10 millimeter, about to take that off right now. Alright gang, so we just loosened it up. As you can hear, we got air seeping out. I'm gonna let it bleed off. Alrighty, that abruptly stopped. Alright, gang, so now we're ready to bust this baby out of here. So just for safety reasons a little bit, I'm gonna place my breaker bar just here underneath the shock and just kind of pry up on there a little bit. See, it's coming on out of there. All right. See, that's not bad at all. And this shock actually is good. I'm just replacing it as a pair because that makes more sense than replacing just one shock. Here we are again, we got our shock out, okay. Looking good. All right gang, so we have our new shock. It has a new brass fitting on it already, which is the same thing that we just took off of the old one. Inside of this brass fitting, there's a crush fitting that goes around the line. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop line out of this old one here. As you can see, this is how it goes here. You see that crush fitting right there? Put that back. Take a little screwdriver, flat tip, kind of pry this open because it's been crushed over this hose. As you can see, it's about 3 millimeters. Let's see, 3 millimeters above the fitting. That's what's recommended. We're gonna have about 3 millimeters of hose going past this fitting. This looks like a little more than 3 millimeters, but you want to have some going out, sticking out. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap those around. All right, gang. So as you can see, I just put this crush fitting on here. Pretty much what I did is I took the crush fitting here, and you're gonna put it on where the tapered end is toward the fitting, and then you squeeze it in a little bit. And then as you tighten it up, it's gonna yeah, what's up, man? As you tighten it up, it's gonna compress that and make it where it's not able to come out. All right, you ready to get this baby up in there? All right, so let's get it. Of course, you already know the airline is gonna be on the outside, so you wanna have that turned out already. Alright gang, so as you can see here, we want to get this shock right here. But if you're working by yourself, you know, it's going to be kind of hard. So what you want to do, you get your breaker bar. Alright, making good progress. slide. All right, so I laid it on there first, and then I'm gonna try sliding it up. Let's try this method. Ooh, it works a lot easier. So I'm using my breaker bar. I'm sliding it up. All right. So this is looking good. So now that I slide it up, I can lift up on my breaker bar. I can press this shock and hopefully get it in the pedestal. Like so. Alright. Let's pry it up a little bit. Get it all the way in there. I think we're all the way in there already. Yeah, we're in there. May have to tweak the suspension just a little bit. Make sure you're all the way in there. There we go. We started now. Got that baby started. So at this point now, gang, all it is tightening this up. I'm going to finish tightening this up, and I'm going to go up top, and I'm gonna put those 3 nuts back in. What we could do is we could go ahead and get our airline on. So make sure you route it back properly. Right through there. Connect it to the little placeholder there. Alright, as you see how much we got over the top. When we tighten it up, it's going to press that fitting down in there. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and secure this fitting. I'm going to secure this nut bolt. I'll secure the nuts on the top. And I'm going to secure this harness. So stay tuned. Alright gang, check it out. We got the air shock installed. Please be sure to pay attention to which one is left side and which one is the right side. It's indicated on the air shocks when they're sold as a pair. Get this back on. We got the shock bolted up at the top. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and reinstall all the interior, but this is going to conclude the video game. There's no point in going through all that again. Alright, so anyway, this is your boy C-Spec Kurt. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel, man. You know what time it is. We're going to keep it coming with more stuff, man, more stuff. I'm gonna finish up this C10 here in a little bit and get you some footage of that real soon. In the meantime, peace.